right, so we got some new information about the Amazon Prime Spider-Man Noir show. Some of it's good, or most of it is good. One thing, not so good, makes me a little bit upset, but we'll get to it. So, obviously, if you don't know, Nicolas Cage, he is actually playing live-action Spider-Man Noir in an Amazon Prime show. So, let's go into the New Yorker article. Or it's an interview with him, actually. But this is something that Nicolas Cage said. Well, I mean, the fantasy would be that I could try to aspire to be something more Golden Age. You know, something more like James Cagney, or Humphrey Bogart, or Hedy Lamarr, or Bette Davis. All actors that I do not know. I wanted to have that kind of aura, you know? Like the more enigmatic. You don't know too much. That's why I'm not on social media. That's the thinking, anyway. I don't know. We'll see what happens if I do this Amazon show, Spider-Man Noir, and they put me in black and white. We'll see if we can get some of that flavor. One of the things that I like about this potential show is that it's fantasy. It's not real people getting beat up. Or it's not really people beating people up. Monsters are involved. So that's actually... so there are a couple of interesting things there. Presumably, you know, maybe the scripts aren't done or haven't necessarily been written yet, but obviously he's been talking about it. So based on what he's talking about there, the fact that he considers it to potentially like have him give a performance such as people from like the golden era of Hollywood, I think that's interesting. I wonder if that means that this show will actually have like a black and white detective film type of tone. I think that could be really interesting. And he mentioned that it might be in black and white, which I think is also super interesting. I think that'd be really cool if they actually committed to like Spider-Man Noir and made it black and white. I think that could be really cool. Because the interesting thing about Spider-Man Noir is that obviously a lot of people think of him as like a jokey character because of how Nicolas Cage played him in the Spider-Man in the Into the Spider-Verse movies. But if you are a real one and you played the video game Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, there were levels in that game where you played as Spider-Man Noir, and the tone was actually like very serious. Like Spider-Man still made quips and jokes, but the general tone of those levels were like very serious. I've never read a Spider-Man Noir comic book, so maybe it's different in the comic books, and that was just unique for that game. But I would hope that this show isn't overly comedic. And then the other interesting thing that he mentioned there is that he described it as a fantasy world where monsters are involved. So I wonder. So I like or it's interesting because that implies that this is not going to necessarily be a grounded show. You know, we're not going to get like Matt Reeves the Batman, but but Spider-Man, which I think could have been interesting. I mean, okay, sorry. What I mean by that is, like, obviously Spider-Man is going to have superpowers, but there's a difference between a guy that's kind of strong and that shoots webs and swings around versus, like, you know, Thanos. It seems like we are going to get like big creatures and big supervillains with big flashy powers and stuff. Like it's not like Matt Reeves' universe where it's like, here's the Riddler who's just a guy, here's Penguin who's just a guy. You know what I mean? And then so then some other information that we have here. Robbie Robertson is going to be like a cast member in the show. This is coming from Deadline. Actor comedian Lamorne Morris. I don't know who this is. Apparently he was in Fargo. Never seen that show. Heard it's good. He's probably a good actor. Has been tapped as a series regular opposite Nicolas Cage in Spider Noir on the Sony Pictures TV produced series, which has been renamed from its original title, Noir, to highlight its Spider-Man universe lineage. Morris will play the character Robbie Robertson. Morris's Robbie Robertson is driven, hardworking, and won't take no for an answer. A dedicated journalist trying to make it with the odds stacked against him as a black professional in 1930s New York, he takes on riskier stories that no one else would touch in order to catch attention and a paycheck. He is willing to do whatever is necessary for his career. So first of all, hate the name. Like, so they were gonna originally call it just Noir, which, kind of stupid, but it kind of goes back to the days of like Arrow, when they're like, or like Arrow in Smallville, where it's like, you can't call it the thing that it is, or like remember Gotham, where it's like you can't call it the thing that it is. You have to call it something vaguely associated with with the character. There was like Noir. It's not Spider-Man. It's Noir. But they're like, hold on. Our audiences are obviously morons. We have to. I mean, we have to give it another name. I got it. We put Spider in it. Yeah, the people will know what it is then. Just call it Spider-Man Noir. Just add the hyphen and the man. What? Wait, hold on. Does it have a hyphen? It has the hyphen. It's Spider-Noir. That's so stupid. I hate this. I actually hate this. But anyways, cool that Robbie's going to be in this. I like that he's going to be a series regular. I think that's actually really cool. Because, yeah, he's never really played a big part in any of the movies or like animated series. Granted, I never watched the 90s animated series, but yeah, I don't think he's ever played like a big role in any like Spider-Man media. So I think that could be really cool. I'm sure people are going to like look at the whole him dealing with racism or whatever and go like, woke, DI. People are going to have that reaction, but as long as the show is good, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? You can be woke and still tell a good story. It's all in the execution. At least that's my perspective. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. Okay, then we have moving on to the next thing. There's a lot of information about this that came out today. So we also have the villain. Or the cast, the guy who's cast as the villain, Brendan Gleeson. He's really good. He was obviously really good in Banshees of Inisherin. Was that last year or 2 years ago? I don't know. It's coming from Deadline. Brendan Gleeson has joined the cast of the upcoming Spider-Man Noir series at Amazon. Variety has learned from sources. Exact details on Gleeson's roles are being kept under wraps, but he will reportedly play the show's villain. So, very interesting stuff. Now, this is not to insult this man's face, but he's giving me Green Goblin energy. Okay. Now, a very specific. So, if you played Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, if you're a real one, as I said before, then you know that the Green Goblin in that show or in that game was like the Green Goblin that we saw in Into the Spider-Verse, where he's just like a big giant monster. Remember, Nicolas Cage said monster. Connecting the dots, Charlie Day meme with the board. You know what I mean? So I could see him playing like that version of Green Goblin. Maybe, I don't know, could he play Tombstone? Tombstone was also in that game. I remember there was also, I think, yeah, there was a Vulture in that game, like a new Spider-Man Noir Vulture. I'm trying to remember what all the villains that were in that game. I feel like there was one more that I'm missing. Anyways, but yeah, apparently he's gonna play the villain, and I think that's pretty cool. Honestly, he could play anybody. He could be playing Black Cat, and he'd be great. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay, last thing that we're gonna talk about is so we have some information on the episode count as well as the runtime of the episodes. So this is coming from CBR. Speaking with the New Yorker, Cage opened up about making the leap to television with Noir. During the interview, Cage confirmed that Noir would consist of 8 episodes, each with a runtime averaging 45 minutes. 45 minutes. I mean, it's 8 episodes, he said. So it's the equivalent of 4 movies in 5 months. Now, what's interesting about this is that I went to the New Yorker article, to look at how it was all laid out in context, as one does when they try to responsibly consume news. You'd be surprised at how many people don't do that sort of thing. And it's not actually in the article. I noticed that. But there were a bunch of other articles reporting it. I think what happened is that maybe Nick Cage said it and it was posted in the interview. But maybe like Sony or Amazon were like, he wasn't supposed to let that information out. So maybe they edited it out of the New Yorker article. That's what I think happened, because I don't think that like CBR and a bunch of other outlets would just make that up, right? So that's what I'm guessing happened there. So we're gonna go with that. He said it. So 8 episodes. That's that's fine. You know, it's not the dreaded 6 episode. I personally prefer 10. You know, but Game of Thrones is currently going on right now, and it's pretty good. And that's 8 episodes. So well, hopefully they execute on it well. 45 minutes is also decent. That's a decent runtime. Personally, again, using Game of Thrones as the barometer, these episodes are pretty consistently an hour long. But again, at least it's not the dreaded Disney Plus show where it's like 36 minutes, but there's like 10 minutes that you have to shave off because of like the opening preview. And then you also have to shave off 10 minutes, or you usually shave off like, that's probably an exaggeration. It fucking feels like 10 minutes because of how short those episodes are. But you have to like you have to like shave off time from the opening preview, and then you have to shave off time for the credits. So it's like, it feels like Disney Plus episodes are actually only like 26 minutes long, which and they're only 6 episode seasons. So that probably, I think maybe, I don't know, plays into how not very good some of their shows end up being. So, yeah, overall, pretty excited about Spider-Man Noir. I mean, I think that this is a really cool property to make. I'm glad that Sony is making a Spider-Person thing. And they're not just weirdly making villain movies where Spider-Man's not involved in the story. That's really stupid. You know what I've always wondered? I'm like, is the reason why they didn't capitalize on No Way Home, is the reason why because of their deal with Marvel, and there's like some kind of clause in that deal that says that you can't make a Spider-Man movie without us because we're making the Tom Holland movies, and maybe the Spider-Verse movies are like an exception because they're animated, I wonder. And so maybe that then applies to live action TV shows. And maybe that's the reason why they can't just call it Spider-Man Noir. Like, you can't. Oh my god. Oh, I just realized. Are we going to watch this show and they're not going to be able to call him Spider-Man? Are we going to watch this show and his like vigilante name is going to be, it's the Spider. It's the Bug. like the thugs aren't going to be able to go, oh shit, it's Spider-Man. They're going to have to be like, it's the Bug. You know, like how the Arkham thugs go like, it's the Bat. They'll be like, it's the Bug. Oh my god, this is going to be so stupid, isn't it? Oh god. I don't know. Listen, Arrow, did they ever call Arrow Green Arrow? I don't even know. They used to call him the Hood in the CW show. So we'll see. It could still be good. The name, and you know, that's all nitpicks, because it at the end of the day, it doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the show. I'm excited for it. Really cool that Nicolas Cage is actually playing him. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.